All Access Music News. That's just the way love rolls. She was holding my hand.
Low key. I mean, so you've had, I mean, there's the obvious, the Dixie Chicks, and Leanne Womack, and Rodney Crowell?
He and I have written songs together, yeah, for sure, yeah. And Randy Foster's a buddy of mine, and I'll be playing a song tonight that I wrote with Peter Frampton years ago that'll be on my, record. Yeah. He lived in Nashville for a short period of time, and I had the pleasure of writing with him, so that was really cool.
Oh, that would be a crossover song, or what?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm doing anyway right now. So it's my style these days. You know, with no label pressure or anything like that, I can do whatever I want to. I have no idea what my music genre or category is anymore. I'm way across the board.
It's you.
Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly. Nobody's there to tell me, no, you can't do that. So.
But we know it's not acid rock.
No.
Right. And it's not symphonic.
No.
So, your music is your own, and you have a very unique sound, and that's really hard to get in this field. There's so many cookie cutter people, and a lot of them sound great.
Yeah.
You know? How'd you find your own sound?
You know, it's just, I grew up in a town in West Texas that had one radio station, and it played everything. It growing up, you know, so it played everything from, you know, Gatlin Brothers to Bob Seger to Jay Giles, you know, across the board. AC/DC, they played everything.
Sure.
So I've always loved all types of music. You know, I was a classical voice major in college. I sang rock in high school, and then, you know, once I joined Sons back in '89, we were kind of that California country, kind of trying to, you know, the Eagles, of course, and Restless Heart, and Desert Rose Band,
right.
Kevin Welch. That was more of Oklahoma sound, but there was a movement in the late '80s with Steve Earle and Kevin and Radney, Foster and Lloyd, and it was just such a great sound, and that's what I'm still doing, you know, with my music. Although I like some of the newer stuff that's coming out as well. So it's, you know, and so I just kind of blend it all together. Whatever happens or wherever I think it goes in the studio, I might be the only body in the studio at any given time when I'm cutting a demo. So wherever the song, it's like an Ouija board, but I'm by myself. So, you know, wherever it goes.
There was no wrong.
Yeah, it's just, you know. So, you know, I'm sure I alienate a lot of folks from, you know.
Hardcore.
Yeah, because whatever the radio tells them to listen to, that, you know, that's usually, it's a machine. So.
Oh, yeah, it's well oiled too.
Yeah, it's well oiled. So it is nice to see a lot of the power and being pulled away from in today's market with the internet. You know, you can cut a record on a really good record for $15,000 now. So, and, you know, our first Sons record was $300,000. So.
You're kidding.
So
where's that money go? I mean,
yeah, well, you know, studio time. You would have to go to a big studio to cut a great record, and then you think, you know, and then folks, you know, like Lenny Kravitz and artists were cutting on, you know, 8 tracks, and it's all about creation and capturing the vibe these days. It's what it's all about. It doesn't sonically, you know, low noise, or I don't want to get into that, blah blah blah, but it's more about the vibe than it is how clean the recording is. If that makes sense to you.
And that makes it, or the special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was big, you know, the ELO and stuff like that, and the special effects. Nothing wrong with it. If it's done right, it could add something to the song.
Yeah, Jeff Lynne's one of my favorite producers of all time. He's a brilliant
genius.
Man. Yeah,
he is a genius.
there's very few that you can just sit back and say he's a genius, but he is definitely one of those folks. Yeah, it's you know, I'll finish the song. Every time I finish the song or record it, I go out and I say it's my favorite song. My wife just goes, "It's your latest song. It's your favorite."
Until your next one?
Yeah, until my next one. So, but yeah, you get excited about these things, and it, you know, it keeps you young, and it's just, I love what I do. It's just, you know.
Oh, that shows.
Yeah.
But now, your biggest songs on probably may not even be, or I'm guessing, I'm asking, your most favorite songs that you've written?
Yeah, I have a few that I'll play tonight. That a couple were Sun songs, and my old band, Sons of the Desert, and I've thought about recutting a few of those just because I think, you know, they didn't get their chance. So one or two being on an album that was never released. So
Really?
yeah. So yeah, I'll be doing a few of those.
And now, and so you said you're working on an album now.
Yep.
And how you doing? What point are you? How close to finishing it, or?
No. I'm just now kind of trying to figure out the direction I'm going to go. Well, you write about 100 songs, and maybe 2 of those are great a year, you know. And he says, you know, the rest of them are just blah, you know. So every songwriter writes a lot, you know, junk too. So you just won't ever hear those songs. So that's the one thing, is just write. Just have more options, you know, and just keep writing up until the very last minute before it goes to press.
Wow.
I get a lot of inspiration from movies.
Really?
Or books, and so this last record was really pretty dark, and you know, it's like, God, there's a lot of heartbreak on there. I heard that from a few fellow songwriters, and saying, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." A lot of those songs are not about me. It's just so happens that I was, you know, I was inspired by a few movies. And the reason I am happy is because I'm able to express myself through music, and it's just, you know, it works for me.
So do you write the music first and put the words, or vice versa?
It all depends. I might have a title that I hear that just catches my ear, and I can see the miniseries in my head, or the, you know, after-school special in my head, or I come up with a cool riff, and I start building a melody line around that. 25 years ago, he said a lot of his songs, you know, they were written before because it was the way he was singing it that was the catchy part. You know, like Sudi or whatever he was describing, but it was, you know, it's kind of, some of the songs are pretty goofy, but they were very catchy. So I try to take that approach sometimes if it's a cool vibe or rhythm or something, but then I really try to hone in on the lyrics and tweak them to where they make sense.
You ever feel like you try to force it and you go, I don't want to force it?
Yeah,
like, I just got to finish this, you know, and you feel like it's forcing it?
Yeah, that's another thing I learned from great songwriters, very seasoned songwriters in Nashville, was that we would be so close to having something down, and it was like we almost, you know, we're kind of painting ourselves into a corner, and then they'll just drop it all, and then they'll start something else. And I thought, oh, that's weird. Okay, so you get to a point to where you're going to waste too much time trying to make this work when something else can work. So that we would just start over on that verse and just.
Do you ever wake up and just like have a tone in your head? And,
oh yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
you
yeah.
do?
Yeah, I hear one in my dreams, and then, you know, I have to make sure that it's not another song that I heard and gets stuck in my head somewhere. But yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I do. I get something in my head, and I have to run to the studio and, you know, put it down, or my iPhone.
Yes.
That's the greatest tool for a
Isn't it
songwriter ever.
It's dangerous because you just get, you know.
Yeah, but I used to lose ideas all the time because I wouldn't have my recorder with me, but now I always have one. So
I used to always keep one of those little cassette tapes.
yeah, they sound so good. The big square ones with the big fat buttons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd get an idea, I said, I gotta write this down so I can go back to it, you know?
Yeah.
I'd hum some bars and they go, what is that? I said, just trust me, it's just an idea, you know? Well, so, okay, so what's coming up for Drew? Womack?
Well, I have there's a trio, like a bluegrass trio out of Missouri that I'm going to help produce a new record on, and that'll be fun because I've never done bluegrass, even though I love it. And then I'm just going to start really digging into my new project and see where it goes. So who knows?
So you have no release date? You have
no.
Now you just too far down the line.
Right.
Well, that's great. So, so you're going to be playing tonight for us, and we're really honored to have this opportunity to spend some time with you.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thanks for having me.
you're nothing but a pure gentleman, and we thank you so much, Drew.
Thanks again.
And
I took a chance back in junior high school when she broke my heart and left me staring at my feet.